I'm trying to think of what I want to do here. For the kids, bro. Oh, this road is so sketchy, so bumpy. I think I'm just gonna do it right here. I don't know why I did that. Alright guys, we are out here again on the M1000. It's a little dirty, but I told you guys I'd get you some updates and start getting more content with this. So I had a video kind of going over kind of the stuff that I've already done to it. Like I got these little carbon fiber-y tank protectors and little aesthetics. I got these rubber side pieces. I don't really like the way they look, and they didn't quite, like, if I came down over here there was stuff sticking at the top and it's not really aligned, but I wanted to try the rubber kind of more versus like the slick carbon-y stuff, to see if it would have more grip. It really doesn't, but at least it'll protect the tank still, even though cosmetics probably shouldn't be at the top of my list right now. But been doing things as far as trying to figure out all the life circumstances. I'm trying to get involved more with like the car community and the bike community out here, to get you guys some better content. Like there's only so much I can do of just, you know, music over me going around on the same roads doing the same thing all the time. Like that's just gonna get boring, and in my opinion no one wants to see that, because I barely even want to see it. So I'm doing my best, trying to get a second job, which is gonna just make going to these kinds of things like a little harder. Most people schedule things on the weekends and I work weekend nights already, and so it's hard. But I want to do this for you guys, and I want to get content out there. I'm trying to get, should probably no surprise, but I'm trying to get actually my endorsement, because I don't actually have it. My permit expired, and the main reason actually is not even necessarily for riding. It's because I want to get into the tech industry, for power sports, and yeah, it's, you kind of need your endorsement to do that, you know, when you drive like company vehicles and this, that, and the other. So it's pretty much a necessity to have. So that's one reason why I'm getting it. And also, like, another thing is, like, I know, for instance, there's like track days coming up at some of the local tracks nearby, and you need your endorsement usually to get on the track. And so trying to do what I need to do to kind of stay off the streets and quit drawing like unwanted negative attention to myself, mostly from the law. There is a no chase out here, but it's only a matter of time, guys. And like I ultimately want to honor God in the things that I'm doing with my life. And obviously I know that probably seems hypocritical to some, the way I drive, you know, when we're talking about, I think it's in Romans and a couple other places where we're kind of instructed, Paul's instructing us to obey our lawmakers and you know, be good citizens, sort of thing. But there's always kind of like a kind of semantics that gets involved with that. Man, this stuff is just falling apart. Yeah, I had this zip tied right here to this metal piece, and then this part came off this, so this kind of, I mean, it's so far so good. It hasn't come off at, you know, 190 miles an hour, so we're good. But anyways, as far as semantics for, like, you know, because what if like lawmakers are said to do not good things, right, that we know that we wouldn't do morally, you know, by an objective standards of God's law. And not to say that simple city ordinances and speed regulations, you know, infringe on that. And all I come back to is God sees the bigger picture. This wasn't even necessarily an option for me. When I went to the dealership, they had it on the display, and this was my dream bike. Is same with like everybody. who, you know, sees this bike and just falls in love with it. And I wasn't expecting the dealership to have one when I walked in. I was actually going for a 2024 red S1000 to kind of stay in the red category to match, you know, the swordfish kind of aesthetic. And I saw this and they were like, yeah, we're actually trying to like do a deal and get this out. I think they took like 3 or 5K off of it for me. And then part of the other reason I got into the bike, I still have to take these reflectors off, was to buy my credit. Like, obviously I could buy a vehicle, but I have 2 other vehicles that desperately need maintenance right now. I'm actually taking apart one of my other vehicles and fixing that right now. But this was essentially to buy my credit. You know, I love riding bikes. I fell in love with it when I had the little Ninja, the 650R, and I just love it. And so buying my credit, and so I didn't have credit history, and so they wanted 19K down. And originally I was like planning on a 10K max. But when I saw this bike, I was like, I might be able to stretch it for 13. I was like, that's the most you're probably gonna get out of me. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just can't do the 19. I'll just have to go for the red S1 that I was planning on getting. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, no worries. And so, oh man, the fact that this is not aligned right, just OCD. And then this is crooked. Anyway, ADHD, whatever. So yeah, I was about to sign for the S1000. And literally the like dealership guys like pulled hella strings for me, like a bunch of Christian dudes there too. So just, I don't know, it was just a blessing. He came up and they said they were willing to do the 10 down, and I was like, let's do it. Like, how am I gonna say no to this beautiful bike? And you know, obviously they have to send you out of the dealership with tire specs, which the specs for these are like, I believe it's like 40-38. And that's just too high in the cold. You know, I left the dealership in like high 40 degree weather. I know I said that these are race slicks. I know that they're not race slicks, okay, but they are race tires and they were brand new. They are slick. They were slick, right? Play on words. Okay, so yeah, and so that, I mean, you guys saw the video. Some of y'all, like, you know, you guys, anyone who's in the bike community knows, like, everyone's a GP moto racer expert in the comment section. But I mean, my throttle was fine. Yeah, I went over kind of off the line, but that white line was super worn. I honestly don't think that was much of a factor. I think it was just the gravel and that uphill trying to take too sharp of a turn, because I was riding it like I would ride my Ninja. You know, I would ride like almost off-road with that thing. I mean, you guys have seen some of the videos of me doing that. And my inexperience and my ignorance, you know, is what cost me to essentially lay this bike down. And I've said it before, God's plan, because if I would have just bought this and ride it around, woo, no one would even care to come and look at my page, you know. But this dropping this bike blew my page up like massively. Like, I went from like 20 followers to like 2K followers, and I think now we're just like probably like a couple months into it. But at first, over the few days, it was just drastically blowing up. And you know, if I haven't said it in videos prior to this, I'm saying it now. My whole goal is to build community, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get a looker bike, something that draws attention, hopefully in the positive sense, but to draw attention, something that everyone's familiar with, that, you know, people want to come and approach and have conversation. Like, this is a conversation starter. This bike instigates conversations, right? And so that is opportunity to meet people, to minister, to make connections, to learn about bike maintenance, to learn about the industry, right? So for anyone who's like thinking about going up, God, this is just so ugly, this bothers me so bad, but anyone who's thinking about going up from, like, you know, a 400, 650 or whatever, listen, I had confidence to get this, and everyone will think of the fall and think of, oh yeah, you know, you're dumb, you shouldn't have done that. Honestly, in my opinion, that fall was a fluke. And at the end of the day, like I said, God's plan. Like, it sucks to look at it, you know, when you come to the side, but at the same time, it's still a beautiful bike. It still functions to perfection. I am still blessed, and I have a respect for the machine. Can anything happen in life? Could someone pull out in front of me when I'm doing 100 miles an hour plus, you know, allegedly? Yes, absolutely. But the same can also happen if you're a perfect law-abiding citizen, right? So life has no guarantees, right? Every time we leave our house, and we get the luxury of returning home at the end of the day, that should not be taken for granted. You could slip on a curb, hit your head, you could get sideswiped out of light, that you had the right of way to go through. Anything could happen. Life is not guaranteed, and God is the God who gives and takes away. And with that said, the opportunity to get this bike was clearly a blessing. I've already kind of like had a little bit of attention drawn to myself that was unwanted, that I'm sure I shared in a video, which is why I don't run plates anymore, right? Like, the fact of the matter is, I know I'm not going to go to the speed limit on this bike. It's not even probably good for it, to be honest, to drive it just casually. Like, this bike was meant to go. Do I want to take it on the track? Yes. Am I still going to do it on the streets? Yes. But I'm always going to ride in a sense of comfortability that I feel is maintaining a sense of control that is still optimizing safety to a certain extent. Like, obviously there's risk when you increase lean angle and increase speed and we're swerving through traffic. I get that, guys. I am not minimizing the risk of not only my life but the life of other people that could be jeopardized by that type of riding. I get it, right? And I don't want to test God with these kinds of things. I'm not out here going like, oh, well, you know, God's got me. Yes, that's true. And my philosophy is, when God calls your time, and it's your time. But until that time, you're technically invincible, right? And this is not like to go ahead to take your life for granted and go out and do stupid stuff, right? Which, again, might seem hypocritical of me. But God, he just knows. And I don't feel like this would come into my hands with this type of opportunity to if God wasn't planning on it. Could it be a test of maybe like idolatry or something? Sure, right? That's always a risk, right? There's always going to be times maybe that I've even had already where, oh, I need to hop on my bike. I don't want to deal with life right now. I don't want to do. No, that is where you run a risk. Not even just safety wise, because people always say don't ride your bike in a certain state of mind. But if you start elevating things above Christ, then he is going to he's gonna put the brakes on life for you. And the last thing I want is to start idolizing this bike, having it be my therapy, having it be my go-to, and then ignoring maybe counsel that God is using to other people to speak to me, until God finally has to say, hey, you're not listening, so I'm gonna have to get your attention. And then something bad happens, right? God forbid, right? I don't want that. So there's always, as a Christian, a degree of trying to make content that people find exciting, doing it as safely as and responsibly as possible, right? I get it, okay, like hypocritical, whatever, but still honoring God without elevating the gifts above the gift giver, okay? That is the biggest thing. Do not elevate any gift in life, right? Anything, your spouse, your loved ones, anything like that, right? Don't elevate the gift above the gift giver. This is a gift from God, 1,000%. This is a gift from God, and I want to maintain this bike, hopefully in the future, 5-10 years down the road maybe, replace these fairings, which, if you guys don't know, I had them quote me for a full fairing reset, which I don't know if it included the tank, but it was all the sides, the front, possibly the tail, and of course the other side, and then I think all these in here too, so maybe this as well. Anyway, I had them quote me for a full fairing replacement, $11K, guys, $11,000, and labor was only like 300 of that. Okay, I think this piece alone, this tiny piece, is like almost 3K. This little thing right here, that's the width of my fingers, you know, my hand. All right, carbon is expensive. Okay, it was an expensive mistake to drop this bike. But that's life, okay? That is life. So down the road, I mean, you could buy an older ZX10 or whatever for $11K, you know what I'm saying? Like, whew, like that $11K is not necessarily chump change, all right? Maybe for some of the wealthy, it's chump change. But guys, I worked for this bike. I pulled out assets and savings for this bike. No one helped me get this bike except God. And I could give credit to my parents, because when I got out of the military, I moved back in to go to school, and I've been just living with them pretty much rent-free, just working on the grind. So in that sense, that is a luxury I also will not take for granted. I owe them full credit, because if I was out on my own, this would never happen, because I'd be even more forced to be even more of an adult, living in a studio apartment, barely making ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck. No, my family is a blessing. They also made this bike happen. And even though I may have earned the money financially, they allowed living conditions that allowed me to financially invest in this machine. So this is the conclusion of my rambling, guys. This is what I wanted to share with you. More videos will be coming. I am trying to figure out the best way to do content that you guys will find enjoyable, that it won't just be me riding around the same streets in my city with music laid over. Like, that's gonna get boring. No one wants to keep seeing that over and over and over again. Like, I know they don't, right? So again, I am doing my best to figure it out. I'm working with my schedule. I am trying to submit my life to God and just have the right doors open and avoid the wrong doors. And that's it, guys. So I hope you continue to hang with me. I hope you continue to follow along. I really do appreciate you guys. And I've already been thinking about merch ideas and things like that. I do have an exhaust already picked out that hopefully, possibly, maybe next year. And that's just like more of the realistic. If I was super aggressive and wanted to be a little bit financially selfish, I could probably do something at the end of this year. But guys, I have plans for my life, and I need to at the same time still be a responsible adult to some degree. So realistically, at a minimum, probably at the end of 2026 would I get this new exhaust system that I have planned, and I'm not gonna spoil that for you guys. And hopefully, you know, the bike will be taken care of until then. Hopefully there'll be no more fall downs. Hopefully there'll be no more legal trouble, and hopefully, right? Hopes and crossing fingers and whatever. Like, whatever God's plan is, Lord God, I just well, you guys, I just ask for your prayers to just keep me to honor God. Keep me to pray for me to stay safe. Pray for me to make the right decisions in life, Lord God. You guys, I just ask for your help, right? If this is the whole purpose, again, is to build Christian fellowship and community, I need your guys' help. And if any of you guys ever need prayer or want something to talk about, message me, reach out to me. Don't just leave a comment. Try to message me, guys, and we'll make something happen. I do have a Discord that I might use for this, or I might just make another one. But in the future, I'll let you guys know what I decide to do with that. And either way, I love you guys, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Nice.
So don't say we're okay. life is in the hands of those who freely choose. Will.